This episode is proudly sponsored by Ypsi Real, your go-to guide for everything real, unique, and unforgettable in Ypsilanti. Discover what makes Ypsi truly real.
All right, what's up, Detroit? This is Darius back at Ohana Lounge, and I am accompanied here with Miss Heather Banet.
Hi, Darius.
How are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm doing well on this rainy, crazy spring day in Ypsilanti.
Yes.
But Heather has been a part of the Ohana community. I think towards the end of last summer, was it, when you started coming in? All right, so you come in and you do some work here, and we started having conversations. I think the first thing I learned about was your poetry.
Yes, I shared some poetry at an open mic night that Ohana had.
Yes.
And we got to talking, and I started sharing about how I've been merging my work with dance, art, and poetry together in one unit.
Awesome. And tell us about your work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I call myself Mixed Creative Arts Studio, and the idea is that we can create accessible resources for disabled and non-disabled people to be able to engage in dance, art, and poetry. And the approach that I take is that for dance, you can work on like developing your own style and really like nurture your innate ability to move and groove.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Similarly with art and poetry, it's about following that artistic intuition and exploring. So everything I do in a lot of ways is like an artistic exploration, but I think the biggest like exciting thing about it is that we are taking steps and being really intentional about including disabled people as well, because like historically we know, just like other marginalized communities, disabled people have been excluded from, especially in the dance world and also in like art schools and things like that. So that's an overview of what my work is with Mixed Creative Arts Studio.
That's so cool. And it's such a wonderful niche to be tapping into, within the disabled community, to be able to have this resource. So what has the response been within that community?
Yeah, the response has been really great. We have people with all sorts of disabilities who attend my classes. I mainly teach online on Zoom, which is also a form of access because not everybody can leave their home or their couch or their bed. But to be able to tune in online is something that increases access. And then in addition, I've done work directly with the Disability Network in Ann Arbor, and just going there, and right now we're working on a dance to the song Hakuna Matata. So it's just like
Lion King, right?
Yeah, Lion King. It's so fun and joyous, and the response is incredible. People are so excited to be doing artistic work in community with each other.
Yes, 100%.
And it's very fulfilling and exciting to be able to do that. I will also mention that occasionally I do a pop-up at Riverside Arts Center locally here in Ypsi.
Nice. So there's a physical opportunity for the community to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's not at the Disability Network, stay tuned to what's happening at Riverside.
Nice.
Probably coming into the summer, I'll be setting up a few pop-ups, just in-person mixed creative arts class. For those, we do, again, like free-form dance where, I give structure. It's not just, going in and, hey, just dance. Like, I give structure to help guide, and you can always ask for tips on your style, or like I will model examples and people can follow. And then for the art portion at Riverside, we do watercolor painting, which is really fun and exciting.
Totally.
And then we work on like poetry, which a lot of times comes from just like journaling about your life. And coming from like real life examples, and then maybe turning that into like a haiku or just like some other, maybe a free form kind of poetry structure.
Nice. That's fantastic. What's the age group that you target?
Yeah, so I mainly work with adults. I would say Honestly, teens and up.
Okay.
Because I have some participants in my online Zoom classes who are like 13, 14 years old.
Nice. Yeah.
And then all the way up to like, including like my grandma who's like, 85 and she loves to come and dance online.
That is so cool. Yeah.
So it's a wide range, and I'm also like not closed off to working with children. I just think below a certain age, you really need to be doing that in-person work.
Sure.
So if there was enough people that said, hey, we want this type of work in the community, we could then talk about setting up something, at Riverside or even the Disability Network that like more so targets children. But yeah, for now it's like about 13 and up.
Okay. What is the Disability Network?
Disability Network is an organization that's a nonprofit in Ann Arbor. They service Washtenaw, Monroe, and Livingston County, but there's other disability networks. There's another one at least like over in Kalamazoo that's working with West Michigan. Okay. But here in we're in Southeast Michigan, right? Okay. Yeah. Sometimes my East and West gets a little confused.
Yes, sure.
In Southeast Michigan, they're setting up programs to like work with disabled people who need to connect them with services to help them if they need like career coaching, and then they do lots of like cultural events. Like, so for example, the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act is something that will be celebrated at the Disability Network. They also have an arts program there, like separate from what I do, but related. So they're providing some art classes, and they've done like a mocktail event where you can go and like socialize. Cool. So there's all sorts of services. I would definitely want the community to know about them. They're doing incredible work, and like I partner with them. So yeah, I just think very highly of the work that they do.
That's amazing. There's been talks amongst a number of businesses as it relates to their DEI program.
Yeah.
And a number of them are either already have or are considering specifically adding another letter to the DEI acronym. One specifically being mobility. Are you familiar with that? Or?
Yeah, or accessibility. I think I've heard sometimes I've heard a few different like words being used, but whether it is mobility or accessibility, yes, I have heard that, and I do think that's really important. Like, of course, like as for myself, like as a white disabled person, like I hold certain privileges that I have to be honest about, but it comes to like how can I use my privilege to like help get other people, disabled people or disabled people of color, like involved for me in the arts. But yeah, when it comes to DEIA, yeah, I think it's so important, like all of it, and I think businesses should connect with disabled people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there a lot of voices for disabled people, would you say?
It's growing. It's growing. I know a lot of disabled artists that are operating like independently, but there's also the Disability Network is like a hotspot for just like disabled artists and community, and also like more smaller organizations like my own Mixed Creative Arts Studio. I have like my connections in the community, so I think the voices are growing. I think
good to hear.
There is some like needing to seek out and like kind of just like you have done with me, like find people in the community and say, oh hey, you have a cool story, I want you to share this with the community, and see like who might need your resources. I think more and more like having non-disabled and disabled people kind of come together and share a platform is incredibly important.
Totally. Where can people find more information about what you're offering and the Disability Network? Yeah,
absolutely. I have mixedcreativearts@gmail.com as my email, but you can also find me on Instagram, Mixed Creative Arts Studio, or Heather Banet is my like personal Instagram, but that links you to my Mixed Creative Arts Studio Instagram, so I'm there. But and also if people contact you, I welcome you to share my contact information, because sharing community resources is so so important.
Totally. That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Heather, and thank you for sharing your story a little bit and some of the things that you're doing. And you heard it first here. That's what's up, Ypsi, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much, Darius.
Yes.